Ready to go shopping? We're going to talk about how much you buy, where you buy it, and when you buy it. These are the very basic questions when it comes to provisioning. So the first thing I want you to do, though, is just breathe. Everybody eats. If you're going somewhere where there are people, you will eat. Now, if you're talking about crossing an ocean, you're going to have some different kind of provisioning ways of thinking about things, and you're going to have to be far more precise and careful than if you are coastal hopping or island hopping or going to the Bahamas. Because you know what? Wherever there are people, there's food. That's just how it goes. So relax. You totally have this. You will find that you want to shift the way you meal plan. If you're like many of us, you look at the day, you look at the week, and you say, Monday night, everybody's home. I've got a little bit of extra time. I'm going to make a lasagna. On Tuesday, we're having hamburgers on the grill with frozen French fries. On Wednesday, we're going to make tortilla soup. Thursday, we're ordering pizza out because it's a late night and everybody's exhausted and I'm not going to have any time to cook. Wednesday or Friday night, we're dealing with leftovers. Saturday, we're going out with friends. And then Sunday, we're having a great big omelet. When you're talking about cooking on a boat and when you're talking about shopping to cook on a boat, it's far easier to think in terms of general things. We like to eat this kind of thing, this kind of thing, this kind of thing, rather than specifics on Monday, we're eating chicken adobo. One of my favorite cookbooks to help plan this way and to shop this way is a cookbook that is a little hard to find. I think you can still find it on Amazon. It's not in print. It's called the Monday to Friday Cookbook, and it's by a woman named Michelle Ervader, who is a trained professional chef and lives with her family in a little apartment in New York City, which is not unlike living on a boat. So, one thing to check out. You might find some really interesting things in there. What are the questions we're going to answer in this? How much do I buy? Where do I buy it? And when do I buy it? These are pretty much standard questions that you have going on. How much do I buy? Well, you buy enough to keep you fed and not so much that you sink, and you need to think about storage on your boat. The formula is all about how long you're going to be without access to stores. That's it. Nothing else really too complicated about it. So the basic formula is the number of days you're going to be away from stores, the number of people, and the number of meals that you want to eat. So we're getting a little bit more specific here. If you're going for 2 weeks with 4 people and you're making 2 meals a day because you don't need to think too much about breakfast because it's cereal or eggs or toast and you don't need to think about it, you need to buy food for 112 meals. 112 meals, are you kidding? Yeah, think in terms of general. You want 6 chicken dinners, 4 pasta dinners, 2 beef dinners, 2 vegetarian, 8 sandwich lunches, 4 soup lunches, 2 leftover lunches, that kind of thing. All of a sudden it goes from being, oh my gosh, it's 112 meals, to, oh, I know how to do that. I know exactly what to plan for those kinds of menus and those kinds of meals. That makes it far easier to deal with your shopping list. The things that you need to think about when you are going for your shopping are the non-food items. Do you like to wash your hair? Do you have very specific toothpaste that you use? Do you have a dog on board or a cat and you need pet food? What about your favorite chocolate bar or popcorn that's awesome to have on a rainy afternoon? Food for emergencies, those 2 weeks, what happens if actually you can't get to the store for an extra week? Do you have some food for that? This becomes particularly important if you're talking about crossing an ocean and the time is a little bit more up in the air, weather dependent as it were. You want to think about your pets, your kids, any guests that you're going to have on board, whether you know they're coming or not. And flexibility and intractability, when I say that, what I mean is flexibility, yeah, one of the reasons we go sailing is it's really fun to try new things. One of my favorite things to do when I go anywhere new is to go to the grocery store because I learn so much about the area and I always pick up 1 or 2 really special things that I want to try. That said, I'm certainly going to make sure that I have enough peanut butter to last me. That's the intractable part. Flexible, going with the flow, but there's some things you just really want to have. Where are you going to go shopping? Shop at your favorite grocery store or 2. Maybe you're figuring out Thrive Market. This is something new that's come on the scene, obviously, since before I went. It's better, however, to limit the number of stores that you hit. You can save 5 cents on every can of tuna fish, but taking an extra hour to go across town to the little store is not particularly fun or efficient. You actually have enough going on. And the closer you get to leaving, I can promise you the more things that are going to come up on that to-do list. When do you shop? This is not so much a matter of what time of day do you shop, but when do you shop for your stuff? If you're shopping for non-perishables, the cans of tomatoes or pineapples or pasta or flour, go a week or two out. It gives you time to repackage, if you have to repackage, to store all that stuff and organize it on your boat. Perishables, 1 or 2 days out from leaving, last minute as possible. You might have a freezer on board, and you might decide that while you've got access to a home freezer, you're going to bring home the stuff that you buy at the store and pre-freeze it in small packages. That is going to take a little bit more time than 1 or 2 days out. But I can promise you, when I go, the last thing that I buy is those fresh tomatoes. Can you tell I've got a tomato thing going on? Because I totally do. There is a balancing act when it comes to shopping. You're balancing the storage that you have on the boat and the sailing performance. I look at where I'm storing, and we'll get to that in the next unit, in the next module. I look at what I'm storing, where I'm storing it, and how I want my boat to sail. Probably best not to put every single canned item on the port side of the boat and all the paper products on the starboard side of the boat. It's going to mix it up. You got to balance the idea of time away from stores and the fresh provisions that you want. If you are used to eating something fresh every single day, and you stop at the store every single day now on your way home, this is going to be a little bit hard for you. You'll have to figure out, do you need to set your cruising schedule up so that actually you can hit a store every few days? Something to think about. And there's that flexibility and interactability thing I was talking about. There's the familiar foods aspect and the fun of exploration. If you have kids or pets on board, pets if they're older, kids in particular if they're little, they have familiar foods and favorite foods that they are going to want to have. And boy, I can tell you, it's fun to experiment, but it's also really nice if you love a particular pasta sauce to be able to come home after a really kind of long day and just put something that you know everybody likes and everybody's going to eat. So think about those things as you get ready to go shopping. The next thing we're going to be dealing with is storage. Who's ready to play?